It's Amy Winehouse's birthday today, and I really wanted to make a video on her. Well, it would have been her birthday today. And I found this tweet that has some really beautiful pictures of Amy, and apparently she would have turned 36 years old today. And it's really sad because she died so young. She was only 27 years old when she died. And it's really sad.
You didn't actually write it, I wrote it, didn't it? Lovely. Okay, can I ask you something? As an audience, yeah? Don't you think they look so handsome, like this?
This video pisses me off so much. This is a video of Amy Winehouse's last performance, and you can just see all of these assholes booing her. I bet they feel really bad now that she's dead. I mean, of course they had no idea that she was going to die, but it's still like, I mean, I know you paid a lot of money for your ticket, and yes, she was very high in her last performance, and that's why you can see her she's sort of slurring a bit, and she's really out of it for that performance. But, like, I mean, to boo a person, like, I mean, you can just leave you can just leave the concert. Like, I think booing is so immature. It's like heckling at a comedy show. It's like, who does that? Someone who's stuck in a toddler mentality. So it looks like she didn't want to sing, and I mean, that's why everyone's booing, obviously, but I just think it's wrong for them to have booed at her like that. And I can't imagine how embarrassed she must have felt. And, you know, I get why she was an addict. Like, when you deal with depression and anxiety, and I don't really know how much anxiety she had, but I mean, I don't think I've ever heard of a depressed person who didn't also have anxiety, so she probably had both, for all I know. I don't really know that, though. And then I know she had an eating disorder as well. So she, like, had a lot of struggles and things in her life that she was dealing with, and then, you know, she had her divorce from her twin flame, who was a really bad person in my opinion. And yeah, your twin flame can be a really bad person, but her twin flame was a really bad person. I think he literally ruined her life. Like, she was doing okay before she met him, and then she was on all these drugs. It's messed up. I think he ruined her life. But, you know, don't send him any hate or anything. It's just, that's just my opinion. So, it's just sad to see. And I can see why she used drugs, because, you know, she wanted an escape, and, it's just so difficult living with depression. It's like so painful sometimes that you just want to do some drugs. Like, I actually been thinking about becoming an addict, and just to be happy. But, like, I know I shouldn't be an addict, but I think about it, and I mean, I I guess I kind of have some addictions already, but like, I don't know. I know I shouldn't be an addict. I'm not gonna do that. And you should not be an addict too. PSA. Seriously, guys, do not become an addict to anything. It's really a bad idea. So as you can see, she did sing in the performance, and I think she put on an amazing performance, especially considering how high she was. And that ending just breaks my heart. Like, she was obviously really sad and really embarrassed. And I don't know who let her get on the stage like that, honestly. Where was her manager? Like, they should have not let her perform and just canceled the show that night, I think. Because that just really embarrassed her. And it's just so sad. She was so sad. She was trying not to cry, and then she was trying to laugh it off instead of crying in front of everyone. It's so heartbreakingly sad. And I remember that time right before she died, because on the news, you know, E! News and all the entertainment news channels, everyone would make fun of her back then. And no one realized how talented she was. People made fun of her so much that I think even because I wasn't really a fan of hers back then, but my dad was a fan of hers. I think my dad really loved her music, but my dad was definitely a fan of hers. And I think my dad liked that she was kind of like a bad girl. Like, she had the bad girl image. But also, you know, my dad, obviously growing up in the 70s and the 60s, my dad loves soul music. Well, loved soul music because he passed away. But my dad loved soul music and blues and R&B and gospel music and stuff like that. And that's, you know, and jazz. My dad loved jazz as well. And so Amy was really in that genre. She was like, if you listen to her music and then you go and you listen to like a bunch of 60s music and jazz, you can tell that she really understands jazz music, and she sang in a way that was like a classical kind of jazz way of singing, like how Ella Fitzgerald or Billie Holiday would have sang something. That's how Amy sang. And then, you know, I didn't realize how talented that she was at the time. And I think part of that, unfortunately, is because of all the people that made fun of her. Like, I guess maybe it made me not take her music as seriously or really give it a chance to like it. But also at that time, I didn't really like that kind of style of music that she sang, like jazz and things like that. I didn't really like jazz very much back then. But now I really love jazz. And now I really love 60s music, and you know, a lot of the groups that Amy listened to, I actually really enjoy listening to older music more now than any of the new stuff. So and then I really started looking at the lyrics to a lot of Amy's songs, and it's really dark. I didn't realize how much she put her heart onto the page. Like, there's not a lot of people that write lyrics like her, and then she always wrote all of her songs. I love that in a musician. I don't really like when musicians have songwriters. It's not a bad thing, but it's just not something I like very much. I like to, that's why I really love, people who just write their own songs. It's just so much more personal that way to me. I think it helps people connect to your music a lot more. And everything Amy wrote, she always wrote herself. And if you listen to the lyrics to any of her songs, like, listen to Back to Black. I mean, that's one of her most well-known songs. Like, she literally says, well, the song is, I think the song is about, her and her twin flame and how they had this open relationship. And so he would, I think he would go see his other woman that he was also in love with, but then, he would also be with Amy. So it was like, they were in this open relationship, but Amy wasn't really okay with being in an open relationship. I'm the type of person who needs to be in an open relationship, but it's not for everyone. And it wasn't for Amy, obviously, because, like, if you look at the lyrics to that song, she was really, I think, very hurt. And, probably jealous. I don't think everyone can handle that kind of relationship. A lot of people get jealous, and I think she was very hurt. But she was in love with him, so, she, I guess she just kind of got it that, he was in love with both of them, so I think she just tried to be understanding. But it wasn't a healthy relationship at all between her and her twin flame. And, she says in the song Back to Black, you go back to her and I go back to black. Black. And then if you listen to the way the song ends, listen to the way she says black. She says, and I go back to black, black, black. Like, the emphasis on black. Obviously, black is a metaphor for severe depression and heartache. It's an incredibly, extraordinarily depressing and dark song, and it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that she managed to manifest something that, like, so actually real, hitting the pop Billboard, which is usually filled with a bunch of soulless lacking in soul kinds of songs, like that just are, like, we can bip and bop and dance to it, but it's not really very deep usually. It's not usually the stuff on the top 40 Billboard is not on that level. It's just not that deep. It's not actually, it doesn't have any real soul to it. And I'm not saying that songs that have real soul to it need to always be dark and depressing, because I love a good soulful love song, but people don't really write stuff like that. It's usually somewhere in between. There's not, I want songs that are really extreme, I think. Like, I like songs that are like either, I'm extraordinarily depressed, or I'm absolutely over the moon in love. And that's why I love 60s music. And 70s music as well. I even like listening to, like, some music from the 50s and 40s and 30s and 20s. And I love classical music as well, and jazz. And I mean, I love literally pretty much every genre of music. Except I do not really like country very much, unless it's Johnny Cash. And then, I really love Bob Dylan, but he's more folk. than country. I don't like country very much. Sorry. Yeah, just never really liked it. But Amy was an amazing musician. And, you know, I was just watching her music video for Tears Dry on Their Own. And I don't know if you know this, but the blonde chick that's leaning against the wall and talking to the guy when Amy walks past him, that's Trisha Paytas. I just learned that recently, like a few months ago. That was Trisha Paytas. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like, you can look it up and check for yourselves. But that was Trisha Paytas in Tears Dry on Their Own. And that music video was absolutely incredible to me. I love the tune to that song because, I mean, I don't know, unless you don't really know anything about, you kind of have to know a little bit of something about 60s music to recognize that tune from the song. But Tears Dry on Their Own is set to the tune of Ain't No Mountain High Enough. So, and I mean, who doesn't love that song? It was the last song in Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, it's a very uplifting classic song. And that's what I mean by the best songs are really extreme. Because that song is a very extreme love song. You know, they're like, I'm gonna go climb mountains for you. Like, I'm gonna go in the lowest valley for you. Like, I'm always gonna be there for you. Like, I'm ride or die. Like, literally. I'll die climbing this mountain of love to be with you. I love that. I love songs like that. But people just don't really make music like that is so genuine, you know? Not very often. I don't know. Maybe Billie Eilish kind of makes some songs that I really do love, but it doesn't feel the same. I can't tell if she's really feeling that emotion that she's writing about, or if it's just something she's writing to be edgy. I don't know. It might also have to do with the way she sings, because she does kind of sing things in a very almost like monotone way. Like, it's always like she doesn't really raise her voice, or I like when musicians like scream and you know, is it called a falsetto when you do the oh thing? What is that called? I like when musicians do that, and Amy would do that. Sorry, I'm getting triggered. You know what? I think the closest thing that we have to Amy Winehouse today, I don't really know that much about modern musicians, but I mean, it's probably someone kind of like Lana Del Rey, right? Or, I guess Billie Eilish, or, I don't know. I wish I could think of a black singer to give recognition to right now, but I can't think of anyone. All the black singers I listen to are from decades ago. I don't really like... Oh, that's another thing. I don't really like rap that much. I mean, some of it's good, but it just has to be the right person. I like Kanye's music. I like Kanye's rap. I don't know. The R&B I like is also from decades ago. I don't know if I really like the new R&B. I used to really love Aaliyah when I was a little girl. When I was a little girl, I would listen to a lot of that kind of stuff, like R&B. Like, I loved Aaliyah, Beyonce, Destiny's Child. I also love Britney, you know, the Spice Girls. Now you know how old I am. I'm not that old. I'm only 26. That's young. I'm young. I need to stop calling myself old. I'm young, I'm really young and I need to appreciate it while it lasts. But, well, that's my video. I just, wanted to say something nice about Amy, because I really only became a fan of Amy Winehouse, like, this year, pretty much, or actually, no, it was last year, I think, when I rediscovered her music, and then I started, I think, as a way of me grieving my dad's passing, which was only a few years ago, I think part of how I grieved my dad's death is me, like, listening to a lot of the music that he would listen to. Like, I wanted to listen to, like, 60s music and 70s music and 50s music and, like, the kinds of stuff that he really liked, and jazz, and then I started realizing I actually really love it. And I love it more than everything else that's on here. Before, I was, kind of an alternative chick, I was all about that Joy Division life. And that, and I was all about that, oh my god, what is their name? The group that Joy Division turned into. Oh my god. What is it? Joy Division next group? I can't believe I forgot their name. I'm also about that Depeche Mode life now, but, I didn't really like Depeche Mode before. Before, I would just listen to a lot of, like, 80s music, really, and punk from the 70s and 80s, only because I don't know. Maybe new punk is okay, but it's not on that level of the old punk, I'd listen to, like, Black Flag is my favorite punk group, and, I would listen to, Black Flag, I feel like I need to, oh, New Order. New Order was the group that Joy Division turned into. So I was all about that New Order life, and, let me just pull up my Pandora and turn the volume down so I don't get copy striked, although I probably will anyway. I was all about that, well, I've always loved classical music, but, I was all about that My Bloody Valentine life, and obviously that Black Flag life, that David Bowie life, that the Stooges life. I was all about that Beach House life, that Slow Dive life, that Sufjan Stevens life. Oh my gosh! I'm the only black girl in existence that loves the fuck out of Sufjan Stevens. I love him. Ooh. Okay, I need to calm down. But he is such an amazing lyricist. And I'm pretty sure he writes all of his own shit. And he does entire, like, orchestras in his songs. Like, he'll have, like, a banjo going, a bassoon, a clarinet, throw in some violin, and he'll have guitar in the same song. He'll have, like, 50 million instruments all in one song. And then it sounds amazing. And his music is usually kind of sad, but a lot of it is really happy and, like, appreciative at the same time. Like, he's actually a pretty uplifting musician, like, he writes a lot about, things like love and, the blessings of life. You feel like Sufjan is the kind of guy that grew up, like, taking nature walks and focusing on his feelings and going inward. Oh my gosh. I was all about that Edward Elgar life. I was all about that Johann Sebastian Bach life. I was all about that, who else did I like? Composers? I guess, obviously Beethoven. I was all about that, just all kinds of alternative musics on my Pandora. Oh, I like The National. Oh, I love Radiohead. I love Coldplay. I listened to a lot of Ariel Pink. And, I liked Purity Ring a lot in college. Oh, I love the Misfits. That's right. The Misfits is another great punk band. I liked a lot of Fiona Apple. I was absolutely obsessed with Joy Division in high school, and a lot of college probably. I used to listen to a lot of Roxy music, and even this band called Ariel I really liked. I used to listen to a lot of Bob Dylan and the Germs and Nine Inch Nails and the Beatles. I've always loved the Beatles. And I like Gary Newman. The guy that sings the and we're all in cars. That 80s song about cars. That's Gary Newman. But I didn't realize how freaking dark that Gary Newman is. Like, if you listen to his songs, like Down in the Park, he sings about a rape machine, like, and he'll sing songs about, like, war destroying your mind, and like, he's like, Gary Newman is the literal equivalent of Black Mirror, the TV show, in song form. He's like science fiction gone wrong. That's like what half of his songs are. Or like, he'll sing about things like human isolation, which is what the song Cars is really about. And things like, to me anyway, just crazy. He's very dark. Like, I think he actually sang with Nine Inch Nails, so that tells you a lot about Gary Newman. Like, he's really dark. And then I used to listen to the Smiths and New Order a lot, and Belle and Sebastian, and Father John Misty, and Cocteau Twins, Blondie, Foster the People. Oh, Bad Brains. Oh my gosh, Bad Brains is such an amazing punk group. I love their music because it is so loud. Bad Brains is actually so influential to the Beastie Boys that the Beastie Boys named their name after Bad Brains. And they really were influenced by their sound as well. Like, if you listen, like, when I say they named themselves after Bad Brains, I mean they took the, BB of Bad Brains and named themselves Beastie Boys, get it? And then, if you listen to, you gotta fight for your right to party. You know how it goes really loud all of a sudden when they play the rock and roll? Well, that's influenced by Bad Brains, because their songs were insanely loud, especially live. And then I liked The Kills a lot, Real Estate, Mac DeMarco. Apparently, I used to listen to a lot of shoegazer kind of music. And Grimes, Poison Idea. Oh, they're really great. They're like punk and metal to me. And then that is all of the stations I created. That's it. Well, I know I have a lot more punk groups that I liked. I'm gonna have to just make a whole separate video about my top, 50 punk groups. Because I have so many. But yeah, I know a lot about music, okay? I just don't know a lot about new music. My favorite song by Amy Winehouse is probably Wake Up Alone. I really love that song. It's very sad, and I think it's really haunting. And just from listening to that song, you can tell that Amy really knows everything about jazz music, because it just sounds so much like any kind of jazz song or that would have a singer in it. Like, it reminds me a lot of like Dinah Washington's music, or any of the girl group bands. It just sounds, she has the sound down, basically.